I never imagined that losing my husband would lead to a battle over my own life, my daughter, and the company I built with my sweat. But 11 days after the funeral, when my late husband's sister stormed into my home with a claim that she could take everything house, business, and my daughter, I realized the fight wasn't just about inheritance. It was about survival, strategy, and finally proving that the quietest person in the room can have the loudest power. The day after the funeral, after I had tucked my 6-year-old daughter Ayat into bed and switched off the kitchen lights, I thought that finally, maybe, silence would bring some peace. But the doorbell shattered that fragile calm. It was Marianne, my late husband's sister, who strode in as if she owned the house, looking around with a sense of entitlement so thick it was almost suffocating. I realized in that moment that my real trial had just begun. My name is Sarah. I am a mother, a hardworking woman, and the quiet backbone of the company that everyone in our family proudly called the family empire. But that day, Marianne made it clear that I was only ever temporary, just a placeholder until the real heirs took over. Ayat is my world. Her curious eyes, always searching mine for answers, make me think twice before every decision. She is the living memory of my first marriage and my late husband's legacy. When I remarried, I had made it absolutely clear that my daughter would remain my priority. My late husband never made a distinction between his daughter and anyone else, but Marianne never let go of the idea that Ayat didn't fully belong to the family. She often said, "She's not our blood," as if those words could diminish the bond between a mother and her child. I would smile politely, but inside, it broke me a little each time. I worked tirelessly 10 hours at the office handling clients' calls, organizing files, reviewing taxes, balancing accounts, and often continued working from home late into the night. Yet at family gatherings, I was invisible. Only Daniel, Marianne's son, was celebrated as the future heir, even though he barely spent 2 hours at the office. A few days before my husband passed, he had handed me a small, unassuming envelope. I was too preoccupied with hospital visits, taking care of Ayat, and managing office responsibilities to question it. But there was an intensity in his eyes I couldn't ignore. He said softly, "If you ever feel like the world is against you, open this." After his death, when Marianne held a family meeting announcing that the house, the company, and everything else would return to the family, I finally opened that envelope. Inside, I found something that shook me to my core. The company, which appeared successful on the surface, was actually drowning in debt. Several clients had stopped paying, the bank had begun issuing urgent notices, and legal cases were piling up, none of which had ever been mentioned in family conversations. But then I saw another document tucked at the end, a life insurance policy worth over $1 million. The sole beneficiary? Me. My husband had left me a lifeline, a secret roadmap to protect my daughter and me from the greed around us. On the day of the meeting, I dressed in a simple, elegant white outfit, my heart steady despite the storm I knew awaited me. I dropped Ayat at school and walked straight into the lawyer's office. Marianne sat there, radiating confidence and entitlement. She declared, "Daniel will take over the company. The house is family property. You may take your personal belongings." She didn't even acknowledge Ayat's name. My heart surged with a mixture of anger and resolve, but I remained calm. I knew that if I lost my composure, I would give her the satisfaction of thinking she had the upper hand. I quietly said, "If this is what you all want, I agree." The lawyer blinked in surprise, expecting resistance, but I knew exactly what I was doing. I read every document carefully, understanding every clause and condition before signing. I handed them everything they demanded, the company, all its debts, and every responsibility that came with it. I gave them a hollow victory. Within weeks, the truth began to unravel on its own. Creditors started calling, suppliers demanded overdue payments. Daniel, who had been celebrated as the future heir, struggled to understand even a basic bank statement. Then Marianne called me herself, her voice finally showing the cracks of panic. "What is all this? Why is there so much debt?" she asked. Calmly, I replied, "You chose to take everything." Her silence was a testament to the reality she had ignored. The turning point came during a follow-up meeting with the lawyer, when the company's full financial report was revealed page by page. As the report reached the final page, the lawyer paused, removed his glasses, looked at Marianne, then at me. "Were you aware the company was on the verge of bankruptcy?" The room went silent. Marianne's face turned pale. She stared at me as if I had played some trick. I simply said, "I never stopped you." Meanwhile, I used the life insurance money to rebuild a new life for Ayat and me. We moved into a smaller, more peaceful home, far from the suffocating expectations of family politics. I enrolled Ayat in a good school, started online courses to sharpen my skills, and landed a new job where my work was valued and appreciated. I still work hard, but now my labor is for my family's future, not for someone else's approval or validation. The story doesn't end there. A few months later, Marianne returned to my door, but this time, there was no arrogance in her tone, only a hesitant request. "Can we talk?" I opened the door, offered her tea, but not my trust. Calmly, I told her, "Sometimes, what we think is victory is actually a test." I didn't need to shout, argue, or prove anything. I let patience and preparation do the work. Today, when Ayat asks, "Mama, are we okay?" I answer with certainty, "Yes, we are stronger than ever." The real twist? Marianne thought she had left me with nothing. In reality, she had freed me to claim what was truly mine. I gave her the illusion of victory, and in the process, I secured my freedom, my daughter's future, and the life I deserved.